Hey folks, B59 here. Welcome back to our Piasa Transport playthrough of Transport Fever 2. And we're working our way through Eliza's Arkansas River punch list. And last week we knocked out everything up to the Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Joplin area. But I want to come back and revisit one of the things that we did. We are sitting here in Little Rock at the bus stop that goes down to the ferry, and we made some changes to our bus lines here in our last episode, but looking back at them, it's just not a very smart layout. We have this 3-stop bus line that runs for the ferry, and then we have a couple of kind of inner city lines that really don't cover what they need to cover. They're not getting this area coverage very well, or this area coverage very well, and it just feels very messy and out of sorts. There's the other line. So what we're going to do today, before we tackle the new items on the punch list, we're going to go ahead and fix this up. And I think what we'll do is we're going to end up creating one stop here that does the ferry, so that we only have one stop on the ferry line. It'll move people a lot quicker. And the inner city line we're going to reconfigure so that it goes around this much larger area and picks up more folks over here and over here. And is just overall a more efficient line, but we'll keep the clockwise and counterclockwise lines around this big rectangle. So the starting point of this is going to be, first of all, to ditch this stop altogether, and then put in a couple stops here, replace it, and that should have picked up our ferry line and all the others as well. And then we're going to go into the ferry line, and we're going to manage the line so that the only place it goes is Davis Street. And we'll get rid of the Ridge Street stop. And so now, let's, I really want to just see that one line. Okay, that's not traveling very efficiently. What is the challenge here? Perhaps we need to get a second line over here, or a second stop. I thought we put 2 down, no? Yeah, we did. Okay. So it maybe just needs to pick up at the... I think we need to switch terminals down here. Do we only have 1 terminal? 2. We do have 2. So if we switch this to terminal 1, does that fix things? Yeah, now we have a nice, neat... It's still kind of funky, but there's just not a good way to get down there and back again. But this is all in one direction, and so this will be just fine. Now the next thing we need to do is to move some of our other lines. And I think what I'm going to end up doing here is just deleting these other stops. It's going to be very messy to try to move the stops around and make them work effectively. So we're going to start... we're going to basically start over on those. And yeah, it might try to do it anyway. So we now have 1 stop here. Let's put another one down here, each direction. We'll put another one here, each direction. We'll put another one here, each direction. We're going to make plenty of stops here. The inner city line, it can manage it. And then we'll take a look and see what we have in terms of these lines. So this is counterclockwise line, which is correct. And it looks like it's going 1. Let's manage this line. Let's only do the... It's still too big. We want to start at Ridge Street, then we want to go to here, and then to here, then to here, then to here, and then to here. Oops. We only have one. No, we have two. Oh gosh, it's still not very happy. 1, 2, 3 is down here. Oh, that's the problem. 7th Street doesn't belong here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then down here, we want to add this one. Okay, that's better. And then the other line, the pink line, the clockwise line, we also need to manage it. And it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that looks good. So if we just look at these two lines without all the other garbage, we see that they are basically running the way that we want them to. We could maybe put one more here, but I think that's probably enough. Okay, so hopefully this will improve matters and take care of the kind of backup that we had in getting people down here to the ferry before. We do see, though, that there's a lot of people waiting at the ferry. There's a lot here and a lot up at Tulsa. So if we pull up the punch list, we do see that we've taken care of the first 7. And then we get down to 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And I don't think that we're going to do these entirely in order today, although maybe we will. So we're going to go ahead and start first with the Joplin, Oklahoma City shunt. And this shunt is overloaded. It's got too many bricks that it's not picking up. It's not picking up all the grain, and it's not... so it's just not getting enough of those resources out here. And it looks like it's not even picking up enough food here to go down to the Tulsa and back down to Joplin. So that's kind of a problem right now. And I think what we'll do is we're going to just add another... Well, let's see. First of all, we have 3 trains on this line today. And let's add, first of all, a 4th, because I think we're going to need that. And then the question is going to be, do we need more box cars and flat cars? And I think I'd like to add 1 more to each of these. And so if we do that, and if we add let's just dump down here to cargo. We add a box car and a flat car to each train. And that gives all of them 6 of each gondolas and flat cars and 10 gondolas. 6 box cars, 6 flat cars, and 10 gondolas. And that's going to increase things dramatically. Now what I'm worried about is, do we have enough space here to support that? And it looks like the answer is no. This train is too long to really fit here. So what we can do is I think if the easiest way to manage this is to add a platform down here and another set of tracks. And hopefully that will be enough. But what are we going to be able to, let's see, is this one going to be okay? Yeah, it looks like it was already set up to make that. Okay, so we're going to keep an eye on that as we continue down our list, but I think what we can say is that we have increased the capacity there. We've made it fit inside the station, hopefully. And we'll see how that manages things. We've added another train, and we've increased the cars on each of those trains. So we're going to cross that off for now. Then the next thing that we're going to look at is the bus lines in Joplin, which Eliza tells us are anemic. And for here, what we see is that currently there is one bus stop in all of Joplin, and it is got 59 people waiting for it. It goes to the train, it doesn't go anywhere else, and there are only 2 stagecoaches on it. So we're clearly going to need to at least double the amount of vehicles on that line. But the other thing I think that we really should think about here is, and Eliza brought this up as well, is that currently we don't really even catch everything with this one stop. And you know, even for those things that are within the catchment area, some of them are pretty far away for people to be walking and then getting on the bus. So what I'd like to do is add some sort of inner city line here that will pick up folks in different parts of town. And what we'll do here then is we're going to add a couple of more. We're going to create 2 lines, 2 inner city lines. One of them will be from here to here to here and here. And we'll that line from here, here, here to here. We'll color it bright blue, and we'll name it Bus Joplin 1. And then we'll also create a new line from, well, we'll add some more stops, I guess, first of all. And it'll be here, 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 here. Oops, we're auto-saving. Hopefully those all took. That's quite a few lines, or quite a few stops pretty closely spaced together, but I think that's okay for an inner city line. As long as we have a just one stop going out to the train station, I think that'll work okay. So let's go ahead and I thought we put one in here too, didn't we? We should. Yeah, I think we want one there too. Okay. And so this new line will go from here to here to here to here to here. We'll make it bright green, and we will name it Bus Joplin 2. And then we need to get some vehicles, and I think what we'll do is we'll put 4 on each. Bus Joplin 1. And 4 for Bus Joplin 2. Okay, so that takes care of the next item on her list, number 9, with the bus lines being anemic, and we've added buses to the train line, and we've also added 2 intercity lines. And so I think that's going to help Joplin grow, as well as getting the food that it needs down here. So the next item on her list is that the Tulsa harbor is full, and this is what we were talking about earlier. There's 171 people waiting there. The next ferry boat is, gosh, not even in sight. Oh, there it is. It's only going to carry 85, so it's only going to pick up half of those. I had thought we were only going to put one more boat on here, but seeing this and seeing the opportunities for growth that we're creating in these cities, I think that we ought to go ahead and just clone both of these vehicles and add 2 more vehicles to this Arkansas Ferry passenger run. So with that simple fix, we have checked off number 10 as well. She also noted when she was here that the Oklahoma City passenger train is running full. We can see here there's 54 people waiting. The train is still some ways away, and so I think we do need to either add a second train, which isn't a terrible idea except that we only have a single track for our passenger line, or alternatively we'll embiggen the train, and I think that's what we'll do here. If we look at the power rating here, it's already in pretty poor shape. 131 seconds just to get to 47 miles per hour. That's really slow. So in addition to adding another passenger car, we're going to add another locomotive as well. And it's still not super fast, but it's probably good enough. And we're going to see our rate started out at 83. With this new modifications, it goes up to 111, which I think will help. And I think it also brought the frequency up a bit as well. So we're gonna say, okay, that's good for item 11, and that we have increased the capacity of the Oklahoma City passenger line. The other thing that she noted up here in Oklahoma City is that the food processing plant needs grain. If we've increased the shunt capacity, but if we look down here, and I'm going to pause this a second, we're only shipping 34% of the grain out of this facility. If we look at the line, it says that it can ship 169, which is more than that. And I think one of the things that we're seeing here is that we've got a very awkward way to get from here to the cargo station. So, currently this train comes in here, it has to cross over to this track. And so, it's got to cross over the passenger track. And then it also has to pass into this line, which now has 4 trains going into this one platform. So I think ideally what we'd like to do here is reconfigure this station so that we can run this other grain line into a new platform that's going to sit over here. We don't have a lot of room to work with, but let's see what we can make happen here. And I think what this is going to mean is we'll have this here, 2, 3, and we can't get the 4th. The question I have is, do we really need this road to even run here? And I don't think we do. It doesn't really go anywhere. It comes across, and it comes down here to this dead end. It doesn't even go across the river or connect up to these other roads. So it's a worthless road, and it's just currently blocking our service here. So let's just take this out. We might as well take out these middle sections as well, since they're not really doing anything for us. And it kind of cleans up our track as well. Okay, let's get back into configuring this and add as many of these cargo platforms as the game will allow. That one. And that one. And that looks like it. And so if we go to track... No, actually what we probably should have done, I'm going to change my mind a little bit here. I'm going to start with tracks here. That gives us a little bit more track space. And then we can put the platforms here. And it's not the super biggest platform, but I don't think it's going to matter because this is going to be a dedicated line. So now if we run some, we run this out to here. Actually, let's keep it. It's not going to get that fast anyway, but let's make it a nice looking simple curve, and then let's take these out. This is going to complain because. It's going to complain because we need to configure our terminals here. So this shunt needs to now move over to Terminal 1. That takes care of our little red exclamation point, and now we have a dedicated line for that Tulsa grain shunt. And I think that's going to make a difference. If we look at our rate, we're at 216 now, and I think we're going to run more efficiently. The other thing that we're going to do is we're just going to simply embiggen this vehicle. So we're going to add more gondolas. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 gondolas. And then we're going to add another locomotive at the tail end. Modify that. And then we'll take a look and see what our new... Oh, 455. Actually, we can take one more off of there. Let's just drop one of these. And now it's going down to 431. Can we drop it even further? I think we could. $407. Okay. You know, that's a lot better. So now we're going to have full capacity here. That's actually going to even further drive up the amount of food that is available to be shipped out of Oklahoma City. And it does make me wonder if these shunts even need to get bigger than they are today. Well, we've got a capacity now of 925. Now it's shared between 3 different types of cargo, but that's pretty good capacity. About 40% of it is for grain, which sounds about right. And then about 30% each for, well, now it says 842. For food. And the output of food here now is going to crank up. I think some more. Okay, I think that's good for now. We're gonna keep an eye on it and see how it goes. But for now, we're gonna say that we have increased the capacity of this food processing plant by giving it more grain with this increased capacity in this line, which now is holding still at 407. So that's good. So the last item on our punch list for today is increasing the capacity of this oil refinery. So right now we're not getting full capacity of this well or full delivery. We're only shipping half of it, really. And which is a little bit perplexing, because if we look at the rate on this line, it says that it has a rate of 386. So not sure what is going on here. It's full coming down. It's going to drop off. And then it should just turn about and head on back. Doesn't need to go any further than that, does it? Let's see. Yeah. Oh, it goes into, yeah, it just goes from the oil well to the refinery and then back to Oklahoma City again, and that's all it does. But let's manage this vehicle. It's a pretty large vehicle already. There's something changing the interface here. I'm having trouble moving these back and forth. Yeah, I don't know. So what are we going to do with this line? I think what we're going to do is since it's a single track dedicated line, we're going to make it bigger. And we're going to do that by adding another 10 tank cars. Gosh, that seems crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we're going to add another locomotive to it as well. It says it'll get to 31 miles per hour in 69 seconds on a flat track, and that's pretty much what this is. So it's still not showing full capacity, but I think this is what we're going to get here. So let's let that run for a while and see what happens. But the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to add this other oil well in. And this is a little bit tricky because it's really too short for a train, but it also is really impossible to deliver 400 units of oil to this oil refinery with only one line of pulled wagons. I know this because I tested it between episodes to see if we could do it, and we can't. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to borrow that trick we used up in Lexington, where one of the ore mines was having the same challenge, shipping its capacity. And we're going to create a two-headed monster of a truck line. So two truck lines shipping to the same place. And we'll put we'll do it by putting a two-headed big truck station up here at this oil well. And then we're going to configure that to add another street access. And then build out the road to here. And then to kind of ease traffic, we're also going to... Let's give ourselves a little bit more space. We're going to make it so that it's a turnaround. Oops, did that not go in? Okay. And then we'll put a couple of drop-offs right here. One each direction. And now we'll create our lines. And the first line will be from here to here. We'll kind of do this one kind of blue. At the Tulsa branch, we'll have it load crude. And at the Williams Street, we'll have it unload. And then we'll call this, what was the name of this well? I think it was a Woodford. But because this is Tulsa branch, we'll call it Trucks Tulsa Oil 1. And then we'll create another line that goes from here to here. Make it black so that we can see them clearly. And it will also pick up crude. And then it will unload crude. And we'll name it Trucks Tulsa Oil 2. And then finally we'll go ahead and get some trucks on these lines. And we'll put a new depot in here. It's going to be a pretty busy line. I think it can support a depot. And we'll get 10 of these first. All right, let's try 11 for each of these lines. And that 11 will go to the Trucks Tulsa Oil 1. And this 11 will go to Trucks Tulsa Oil 2. And we do already have both of these lines getting oil started to go. So this is going to, help this line ship a lot more fuel. And hopefully it's going to ship something approaching 400 fuel, although I'm not sure we'll get quite there. But to do that, we also need to look at our line here. And this is our barge line that's carrying that refined fuel down to New Orleans. And its rate isn't going to support close to 400. So we're going to add some more vehicles to this line as well while we're at it. It currently has 17. We're going to add 5 more. Or it has 18, I guess. But 5 more. And then we'll see what that does to the rate of this line. 364. It's pretty close. You know what? We're going to add 1 more. But 2 more. And that will bring us up to 395. That's going to be just fine. In terms of this other line that's carrying freight down to Tulsa and Fort Smith, it has a capacity of 142, and it's carrying, in Fort Smith once, 130. So that should be fine for now. So we'll leave that alone. Even though we've increased some capacity, we really don't expect it to grow much beyond that, given the needs here in Fort Smith for that particular line. Okay, folks. Well, this took a little longer than I had anticipated, but I think we've made some good progress today. We have certainly knocked out the items on Eliza's punch list. And so next episode, we will rejoin Eliza, and we will rejoin Samuel Clemens, and we will head down from Vicksburg to, I believe, Baton Rouge. I think. Maybe it's New Orleans. We'll take a look next time when we rejoin you. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you soon.